people that are going to push me, people that, like you said, I strive to be, I see. I don't want people that are going to be my yes men all the time. When I'm falling, I want somebody to help pick me up and show me that I'm strong enough to stand on my own.
Yeah, there's something about that, man. It's like I try to find myself in rooms where I'm the smallest guy as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, I need people who are operating higher than me because that's what I'm trying to do. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Off the Clock podcast. I'm your host in Dayton, Gage. I'm a comfort advisor here at 5 Star.
And I'm Jared. I'm the host in the Columbus market, and I'm on the marketing team.
Let's go. So today we're doing a Meet the Host episode. Episode 7. I felt like
Episode 7.
Yeah.
We're flying through these. I don't know how this one's gonna go. This is gonna be interesting, but
I think it will be too.
yeah. But I'm excited. Gage and I, when we first originally kind of came up with this idea for the podcast with Christian was very firm on, hey, you guys are the perfect ones to host this. And yeah, it's really cool to kind of see this podcast come into fruition.
Yeah, for me, it's awesome to hear what drives people.
Absolutely.
You know, what drives our people. And you just hear this recurring theme of this place is just different, man. It's different than anywhere else. I think that's something that connects us all, you know, so it's super cool. But
absolutely. I think for a good icebreaker, Gage, I know we're both two people that are passionate about fitness.
Mhm.
What's kind of a accomplishment that you've been proud of in the last, month or so, just with your fitness goals?
Yeah, so as far as fitness goes, probably my biggest accomplishment is my legs.
Okay.
I neglected my legs for a long time. And I've been pushing hard on my legs lately. So adding some sled work.
Okay.
I don't know if you do sled pushes or anything like that.
What is a sled push?
So it's, like at my gym, they have a turf area. You just load plates onto the sled and you push. It's basically a cardio workout mixed with a leg workout.
Okay.
And that's kind of elevated a lot of my leg routine for me. And I love it, man. So yeah, everybody neglects legs because it's dreadful, but I've been stepping my game up there. So
I need to follow suit with that. I try to do legs, a couple times a week, but yeah, I'm in that category of people that neglect legs a leg day.
Yeah. What about you, man?
Yeah, I would say over the last few months, I've been kind of cutting weight. So I've lost another 20 pounds and still have not lost any gains as far as lifting as well. So this is the lowest weight I've been in a long time. Not that anybody cares, but I'm proud of it because I've worked really hard to stay accountable and disciplined.
Yeah, it's huge, man. And that's the thing that draws me to it is just how it changes your mental, how it changes your energy. I think I see a lot of it. It's spreading throughout the company now. I see a lot of people that are into this. They're doing better for themselves, and it's super, super encouraging.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that you just acknowledged, like, I see so many people within 5 Star as an organization taking health and fitness very seriously and then sharing their own personal journeys on social media too. So it's motivates me when I see somebody like George in the gym at 4:30 in the morning before he starts a long day in the field.
Shout out to George. Talk about leg day. That dude is a beast with the squats.
Beast
with the squats. So yeah, man, it's awesome. It's a huge thing. I think everyone should take advantage of it.
Yeah.
You start your day off with something hard, which an easy one is the gym. That's an easy, hard thing to do.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's awesome, man. I love it.
Cool. Well, let's get into it. And Gage, I know as far as employees in the company, I would say you have some of the most seniority as far as being here the longest.
Yeah.
Can you just share a little bit about your personal journey as far as coming into 5 Star Home Services, but also the HVAC industry?
Yeah. So I started in the HVAC industry close to 10 years ago now. I was doing apartment maintenance. So I was mostly plunging toilets and replacing lights and doing the basic stuff there. And then that company invested in me to get certified to do HVAC so I could service and work on the systems that we had at the property. And time went on. I realized after after my wife got pregnant, I need to pursue more of a career.
Mhm.
Um, no offense to the maintenance guys out there, but I was just looking for something more. Um, and so I just so happened to see an online on Indeed uh, for 5 star, and I applied, and here we are. So I joined the company actually as an installer first. So I was going out replacing the systems, and I'll just be honest with you. A lot of times my coworker who I was with would get aggravated with me because I'd spend a lot of time after the install just like talking to the customer, building a relationship, and they would always be like, "Dude, let's go. We're going home."
Right.
But I found myself really attracted to building relationships with people. So as time went on, I graduated through the install department into the service department. So then I was diagnosing and fixing systems. And then that eventually led to being in sales. So now I'm a comfort advisor. And my entire job is based on building relationships with people, which is what I think I'm meant to do. So I'm grateful for this journey. I'm grateful for all the knowledge I've learned from everybody here. I'm super excited about it. So
Yeah, and I mean, when we talk about sales and just giving that 5-star customer experience, you having that previous knowledge of how the systems are installed and set up, and I mean, everything about the product you are selling. That's got to make the customer feel more comfortable with these purchase decisions,
yeah,
knowing that, hey, we're in good hands. This is somebody who I can trust because he has that experience.
yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's building that trust. Um, and I think Kip from day one, he told me from day one, I'm going to put you here, but I need you to trust me on this journey because what you're going to learn is going to make you um, better for the customer.
Sure.
So, and I can see that now. It's definitely played out that way. So, shout out to the install team. Shout out to the service team. Shout out to the sales team. I think what we're doing here is going to have a huge impact on the community and the people we serve. So it's awesome, man. What about you? Like, how
Yeah.
did you come in?
Yeah, that's I definitely have a long journey with my career, and I'll keep this short. But I've been working in digital marketing for almost 10 years. I graduated from Ohio State, and right after I graduated, my dream was to work in the music industry. So I moved, packed all my stuff in my Honda Civic at the time, and drove to Hollywood. And
Can I ask a question?
yes.
What specifically in the music industry were you looking to do?
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to work in marketing and work on the business side of things, and had some blessings where I was able to work for Dimmock Records, which was Steve Aoki's record label. So a really
Yep.
big electronic artist. That was one of my first marketing gigs, and then also doing some licensing for Sony ATV, which is Michael Jackson's family's publishing company.
Wow.
So yeah, and it was definitely a real learning experience, but having the soft heart I have, I really missed my family, and kind of breaking it down as like my grandmother at the time was sick and was having her final years. It just, as much as I love that dream, I realized being with my family was more important. So moved back and started working for a creative marketing agency. Worked there for a few years. Got into my own startup company where I was a co-founder. We got invested in by Jaguar Land Rover. I was a product marketing manager role on that project, along with being a founder. So moved to Portland and built some cool products for Jaguar Land Rover, and then moved back to Columbus again and spent some time in some other like accelerator incubator programs. And then eventually COVID hit, and I was working for a self-driving car company, which is a whole other thing. And I got laid off, and during that time, and we'll get into kind of the hardships thing, but I started kind of my addiction battles started kind of surfacing and becoming more of a struggle than I realized, and especially being laid off. So I picked up another marketing role for a recruiting firm, and I just felt like it was a dead end gig for me. And by the grace of God, I saw an Indeed post for 5-star home services, and applied and had my interview and eventually met Christian. And I'll never forget the first week I had a meeting with Kip, and all he said was, Jared, you're an answer to our prayers. And I was just thinking in my head, man, if you only knew what I was dealing with right now, you're an answer to my prayers.
Yeah, man.
So, and we'll get into that
Yeah.
later. But
Yep.
yeah,
I feel the same way about my story, man. It's
yeah.
crazy. That's awesome, dude. Um, Tell me who's someone who's been a hero for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that's like the one question. It's like we kind of talked about it in different periods of your life. Who you might have different heroes depending on what you've gone through and different incidences. But my dad. I know that's like just such a cliche answer, but my father has always been a hero in my life. He's just a brilliant man. He's been very selfless in his life for my brother and I as, we've grown up, and he's just done so much for us and instilled just hard work. And he's the guy, like, he would come to our school, and like he could be super busy, but he would come to our school just to participate in events with us, just to show that he's there and present in our lives. And I'm so grateful for him. So my dad.
I love it.
What about you, Gage? Who's been a hero in your life?
Same thing. Like we said, I have different points in time where I can point to someone in that time that was really my hero. I'm going to go with two.
Cool.
The big number one is an easy one, and a lot of people would probably say this, but Kip Morris. Kip is a huge hero of mine. He was one of the one of the only people in my life that showed me that he believed in me and my potential before I even knew I had it. Like I told you, when I started at 5-star, very quickly he pointed out, you're going to be in doing sales for me, and I just need you to trust me with this. And he's always poured into me. And that was one thing that, and I'll get into this in a little bit, but that's one thing I've always struggled with is affirmation. Yeah. I've always sought affirmation. So for someone to give that to me without asking for it is like a fire under me, where I'm like, let's go, I'm all in. And then the other person I would say is my wife, Katie. So Katie was another person who believed in me before I even believed in myself and really saw my potential. She's always pushed me to be more. And just the person she is, the amount of strength she has every day, the things she's pushed through, it's just, she's super inspiring to me, and she's really my best friend. And I do everything I do for her and our kids. So she's a hero for me for sure. And then I have one honorable mention.
Yes, let's hear it, Gage.
So I want to shout out my friend Brent Bauer. Brent used to run a roofing company in Dayton. He lives in South Carolina now, and runs a company out there. But he was one of the people who, when I met, my whole life shifted. Like this fitness journey, all this stuff, I've lost 85 pounds and changed everything I'm doing, the way I operate. And a lot of that started with Brent. So this guy was, 26, 27 years old when I met him, was operating at a way higher level than I had ever operated at. And long story short, I went to their business, sold him an HVAC system, developed a relationship with him. And through our friendship growing, I just kind of always seen him as a hero. Like, this is somebody who's younger than me, who's operating at a higher level, who's kind of living more of the standard of what I want to live. And he was a big influence for me to like change myself and be better. So shout out to Brent Bauer.
Yeah, shout out to Brent. And Brents in our lives are very important. And, I always, especially as of recently in my own fitness goals, try to keep in my circle people that are going to push me, people that, like you said, I strive to be, I see. I don't want people that are going to be my yes men all the time. It's like, when I'm falling, I want somebody to help pick me up and show me that I'm strong enough to stand on my own.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about that, man. It's like I try to find myself in rooms where I'm the smallest guy as much as I can.
Yeah.
I need people who are operating higher than me, because that's what I'm trying to do,
Sure.
And I was actually listening to a podcast recently. I think it was like Alex Ramosi or somebody said this, but you get to a point in life, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I'm definitely feeling where you kind of outgrow the old you and the old friends and old things like that. but you get to a point where you haven't fully grown into who you want to be and who you want to be around. So you're kind of in this in between, but that's a spot that makes it really challenging, you know?
I'm definitely in that in between right now, but popping my head into like
Yep.
the horizon of seeing,
Yep.
yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Tell me about some challenges you faced, man. Like, what are some hardships
Yeah.
you've gone through that you've had to walk through that have really shaped you?
Oh man. I know I hinted at it before in the podcast earlier in the episode, but I have battled a 10-year cocaine and alcohol addiction.
Oof.
I started using drugs when I was 15, and to be honest, just never stopped. And despite all of the successes in my life that I've experienced, I've always had this kind of weight on me that I just couldn't break.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mentioned, coming into 5-star, I was in full blown active addiction without anybody knowing, other than my fiance at the time, obviously, because we lived together. But I didn't know 5-star had this philanthropy aspect with recovery. I didn't know about Emerge when I applied. I didn't know till I actually got the job that, that there were other people in the company that have battled the same struggles as me. I didn't know about Christian's story. And I just remember being in the interview, just thinking in the back of my head, man, if they only knew, like, what I'm going through, the type of person I am, how, in my mind, I felt like I was weak, but, I was, sick. And um, so to answer the hardship question, within the first 90 days of me working at 5-star, I was in active addiction. And then my fiance left me, and that was a big catalyst for me to start my recovery journey. And that's when I fully surrendered to God, and was basically like, God, if you are real, I need your help right now, because I can't do this on my own, and I have to deal with this heartbreak, and I have to deal with this other battle that's about to take my life. So and May 1st, 2025, which is just in a couple months, I'll be celebrating 3 years of consecutive sobriety from all drugs and alcohol.
Let's go,
And
man.
it's one of the greatest gifts I could ever give to myself. And well, God giving me that grace that allowed me to get to this point, I should say. But yeah, and then a year ago, I started reading the Bible and strengthening my relationship with Jesus, and got baptized. And now I'm just on fire for the Lord, and just trying to, show people that there's hope through Christ, man. And we can't do this on our own, and we don't have to do it on our own, because we have a spirit inside us from God that gives us the power to do anything.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Super powerful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy how God places us in certain, you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
or removes people in your life to be Yeah. His
yeah,
plan is far greater than ours.
yeah, yeah. It's wild, man. I have a lot of times where I look back at my journey, and you can see more clearly when you're outside of it where God placed you for a certain reason. And
Yeah.
dude, he's moving through this place, dude.
He's moving
There's something happening here for real. It is like, it's crazy. It's
I get
unlike any other place.
I get chills when I'm in the Merge building. Like, I'll just be walking in the halls, and I'll just like feel something, like, because I really feel the spirit of the Lord moving through the hallways. And it's like you said, this company is very special, and it's beyond anything I've experienced
Yeah,
in
man.
an organization. Gage, I mean, you're somebody who's clearly, has transformed your life too. What are some of your hardships that you've had to kind of tackle
Yeah,
face first?
yeah. So I mean, similar to yours.
Yeah.
So I grew up not a lot of guidance. Both my parents were addicted, alcohol, drugs. And so my friends were my family a lot of
Yeah.
times. And I'll just being honest, I didn't always have the best of friends. Maybe not that they weren't good friends, but they were kids as well.
Sure.
So I didn't have any guidance. And so my hardships have always been me falling on my face to learn lessons. instead of seeing it coming. I've always learned the hard way. Um, and I think when I learned it the hardest was when I went through a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I was previously married, and I was making every excuse I could. I wasn't showing up for work. I was smoking weed every day, all day, calling off work. Not even telling my wife at the time that I was calling off. I was lying to everybody.
Yeah.
And I found myself just like in the basement of this house I was living in, where I had this recording studio. That was like my safe place.
Mm-hmm.
But I would sit down there and I would get myself in this hole of just like calling off and then using weed to numb the pain and then panicking. And then it's just like this endless cycle. And it all came to a head when I went through my divorce. Everything I owned in my life was not in my name. It was in my ex-wife's name. My car, the house, status, everything I had none of it was mine. So when everything went down, I was essentially left with literally a box of clothes. Is all I had. And thank God I had some good friends who let me crash on their couch. Literally, I crashed on my friend's couch for 3 months. And that was when I started to rebuild myself.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. There were so many days when I was on that couch that I was like, how am I going to get out of this? And I think God put me there for me to realize I'm the one who has to get me out of this, So I started to reinforce my mindset and everything I was doing. And the first time I had a conversation with God was the day, and I had neglected my relationship with God for a while, just to preface this, right? And I remember the day that I finally got a job. And it was a job at the apartment complex that my friend was living at, whose couch I was sleeping on. I didn't know if I was going to get this job. Have you ever seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness?
Oh, absolutely.
You know
Tearjerker there.
You know the scene where he gets the job, where he goes out. I had that moment.
Yeah.
Where I was sitting out in the courtyard of this apartment complex, and I got a phone call telling me that they were going to give me the job, even though it wasn't like the perfect job. It wasn't even a high-paying job.
There's hope.
There was hope, dude.
There's hope.
Yeah. And I remember standing up, crying in that courtyard, and then thinking, man, this is all I need, And that was the first time I re-engaged with God and said, okay, I see you moving, And that was where the foundation was built for everything I'm doing now. I decided I made a choice to live with integrity from every day from then on. And it's been a lot of growing pains. You ask my wife, it's taken a long time, and I still have a lot to learn, but that changed everything for me, that hardship.
God does not waste a single thing when it comes to our pain, our suffering, and our negativity, and he'll take all of that and he'll turn it into something beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah. Talking about something beautiful, dude. I think we're both on a path right now that's going to lead to something great.
Amen.
What are your hopes? What are your dreams? Where do you want to take this thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I have my kind of, dreams as far as like entertainment in the aspect of I run some YouTube channels. So I've gotten a lot of exposure to creating like a television show, and I'm really into vintage and nostalgia. And so
can you shout out your page?
Yeah, so Pixel Game Squad and then Retro Gaming Pandemic. And I'm really into nostalgia, and I've been able to kind of grow my skills as being able to produce television, because that's essentially what these are. They're TV episodes. So I would love, just kind of a crazy dream, is to have my own show on History Channel where I travel around the world and nostalgia treasure hunt, and I produce it, and I'm kind of Anthony Bourdain style, like American Pickers thing.
Yeah.
But the most important dream, though, for me is to, pursue, ministry in the sense of just, sharing the gospel with everybody that's broken and lost, just like I was, and serving God. I mean, that's really why I'm here. And I believe that's why we're all here. So that's a dream of mine that I'm pursuing every single day. It's just to be a faithful servant of the Lord and love God with all my mind, heart, soul, and strength.
Yeah, man. I love it. It's
What
awesome.
about you? I mean, Gage is like the most ambitious person I've ever met, and I thought I was very ambitious. So, what about you, Gage? Are you planning a trip to the moon soon, or what's
Uh,
going on?
yeah. We'll see. You never know. Uh, but really, for me, I try to keep things simple. I feel like I have a responsibility, like a God given responsibility, um, to be a bloodline breaker for my family.
Hmm.
You know, I've been able to take this further um, than I think anyone has in my family with my growth, with my where I'm going, and I really feel a responsibility to break the bloodline, to change the course for my kids, for my family, for everyone, um, and so that's really what my goal is, and wherever God takes me through that, I'm down. Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go.
But really, it's just trying every day just to be 1% better, you know, and that'll take me where I need to go. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah,
So
1% better every day, and that's growth.
yeah,
Baseball games aren't won by home runs; they're base hits,
yep,
and sometimes we got to remember that, folks.
yep. Find a win every day. Find a win.
Yeah,
You
find a
know.
win.
So
So Gage, knowing that everybody's in the company is watching or listening to this, and then also, people on social media, what's some advice you'd like to give? Just words of encouragement to anyone watching.
yeah. So uh, really, I think it's wherever you are in life, wherever you want to be. What's in between that new you and the you now is the decisions you make. On the other side of those decisions is who you're going to be. So I would just encourage everyone to try to um, figure out who you want to be and figure out what decisions you need to make to be that person, and make those decisions every day.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those decisions are probably hard.
Yeah.
They're hard decisions, but nothing good in life comes easy. So if you want an easy life, do easy things.
Right.
Or if you want a boring life, do easy things. If you want a good life, I would say find something hard to do every day.
Yeah.
That's what I've been putting out there a lot, and I live by that, and it works for me.
Yeah.
So what about you?
There's a God that loves you and is chasing after you with his love and grace.
Amen.
And in life, it can get really hectic, and we can sometimes move away from that or forget about that. So when you hear God telling you to rest and be still, be still.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna add one to yours
Sure.
and mine.
Sure.
This is my favorite quote of all time, and I'm just gonna preface this with a little story. So there was a moment in time where I was seeking the wrong things, and I was here at 5 Star, and I was seeking the wrong things. I think I had a bit of an ego on me, and anyway, I remember we had a all company party, and my mind was so focused on what accolades am I getting? What am I going to get out of this? And Kip got up on that stage, and the one thing he said that I tell myself every morning, one of the proclamations I make to myself every single day now is it's a C.S. Lewis quote, but it's, if you aim for heaven, you get earth with it. If you aim for earth, you get neither.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to aim for heaven every day, find a way to serve people, to impact people, to love people. So that's
Amen.
a big one. So, yeah, man. So tell me, this is always like the fun part of
The
this.
bonus.
Yeah, because it's off the cuff. Do you have a hidden talent, a fact, something interesting that people don't know about you?
Yeah. So I know I talk a lot about editing videos and doing YouTube and stuff, but I think one interesting fact about myself is that in college, I was a hip hop artist, a rapper. I
Nice.
made beats. I toured the country and, had some really good, press at the time, locally, regionally, and a little bit nationally as well. I was a secular hip hop artist, so I'm not going to share that. That's a old Jared. But yeah, I was very passionate about music and wanted to be a famous rapper.
Nice, dude.
Gage, what about yourself? I know you talked about recording studios, but
Yeah.
yeah, what's some hidden talents?
I wouldn't say it's as hidden. I mean, it's probably, if you know me, then you know this about me. But probably some of the audience, people at Five Star, don't know. But I've spent most of my life pursuing music, same as you.
Yep.
Um, like growing up, I was in bands, and I always took the responsibility of like, I'll record our music, I'll produce it. So I have a home studio, like a
Okay.
recording studio at my house. I don't do it as much as I used to, but that's one thing that I pride myself on. It's the only thing up until um, working at Five Star that I felt like I could confidently say I got this.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a lot of time working on that. I put in my 10,000 hours, that's for sure. So
Me too.
yeah. So producing music is my hidden talent for sure.
This podcast episode was really cool because both Gage and I are friends. We're obviously hosting this together, but the similarities in our lives is
Yeah.
pretty wild. I had no idea that we
Yeah.
were so mirrored in this. So that's really cool.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
love it, dude. It was awesome hearing your story. And the whole
Me
time
too.
I'm thinking, wow, that's like,
This sounds awfully familiar.
yeah. The funny thing is, we were actually wearing the same outfit. How weird would that have been if we were wearing the same outfit?
Gage was like, I have to change my shirt. We cannot go on camera wearing literally the same outfit.
And then we would have told the same story. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
okay, what are these guys
Right.
doing? Yeah. So
Gage is I have a twin brother, but maybe he's my long lost twin. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's say that's a wrap. Right?
That's a wrap.
That's episode 7.
Episode 7.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, of Off the Clock podcast. You'll be seeing Gage and I on the hot seat interviewing our awesome coworkers, and we're so grateful to be here. If you're interested in being on the podcast and sharing your story, message me. I'm on Teams, Jared Young, or message Gage.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we'd love to have you. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next time.